Okay, we are talking about the Cincinnati Bengals season thus far, and let me tell you, it has been a roller coaster of emotions for me personally. We had a great start to the season, beating the divisional opponent Cleveland Browns by 1 point. It was gritty, but it was a win. In this Joey B era, we usually start off the season 0-3 or 0-4, so it was a blessing to my eyes to witness a Week 1 victory and then catastrophe in Week 2. Joe Burrow and turf toe. Turf toe, no idea what it was before Joey B contracted it, and it turns out to be a really pretty bothersome kind of injury here that's probably going to keep him out until December. Maybe miraculously he can come back sooner, but it's just devastating. And then another hero comes and steps into the game, Jake Browning. What a final drive that was to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I had so much hope. My depression was no longer here. And then boom, Week 3 against the Minnesota Vikings, it was just an absolute beatdown. And a little bit of depression was experienced on my behalf. And so at that point, after the Vikings, I was hoping that we would maybe, test the markets a little bit, see if, because I know it's not all on Jake Browning. We are a team, cohesively as a team, but there were some plays that maybe I was like, maybe we just can't waste the talent, of these offensive skill players like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. So much talent offensively, I would just hate to see it go to waste just because we can't have a guy who, gets the ball to them. And it's really not all on Jake Browning, it's the offensive line too. So against the Vikings, that was a struggle. And then it got a little bit worse in my opinion, even though we lost by a bigger margin to the Vikings. It was because it was a primetime game against the Broncos, and man, that's when I was just starting to sound the alarm bells a little bit, because that hurt to watch. I was thinking maybe, it would get a little bit better. Maybe after we got our butts handed to us, we would improve a little bit. But no, it got a little bit worse against the Broncos. And then I was like, okay, yeah, we definitely need to get a QB. We need to get another QB, right? There's Jameis Winston out there. There's Russell Wilson got benched. Kirk Cousins. Anyone. Let's just see what's out there. And nothing was going on. And then we played the Lions and actually put up a pretty good fight. Jake Browning looked pretty good there at the end. It just wasn't good enough. And mind you, Vikings, Lions, and then we lose the following week to the Packers. And it's just like, these are good teams. So it's not. I didn't think it was the end of the world. It was starting to look bleak though. And then boom, Joe Flacco, a divisional trade, which is just kind of weird. Tomlinson said it best. It was just, it was puzzling to me too. Personally, I thought we should have got someone a little bit younger, but then again, Super Bowl champion Joe Flacco, he has been around the league for a while, and sure enough, wasn't good enough against the Packers. He got there and he started. I didn't even expect him to start the week we got him, and he did. And he played pretty well. But man, last night, what I witnessed out of Joe Flacco was nothing short of inspirational and heart. It touched my heart there a little bit. It gave me motivation, a little bit personal motivation, because I'm starting to get up there in the years. If Joe Flacco can go out and win some Thursday night football against the Pittsburgh divisional leaders, Steelers, guys, that victory changed the trajectory of the Cincinnati Bengals season. And it was 10-0, and it was looking about the same way that those games against the Vikings looked, same game the way it looked against the Broncos. I was like, oh, here we go. We're about to get beat down for everybody to see again, national television. And I don't know what it was, but I think it had to have been Joe Flacco. It must be the Joe Flacco effect, because he was zinging that ball. 16 catches for Jamar Chase. T. Higgins got a touchdown. The tight ends were getting involved. Noah Fant looked great. Chase Brown opened up the offensive line was giving Joe time, opening up holes for Chase Brown and Samaje Perine to just run through. I could not believe my eyes as to what I was watching. I was like, this is vintage Super Bowl Bengals right here. that is what it looked like. After doing this, by the way, what we did on the run game was, I couldn't believe it because I have a lot of Quinshon Judkins on my fantasy teams, and the Pittsburgh Steelers stymied the Browns last week. So Chase Brown's been averaging 2.7 yards per carry. So I'm like, ain't no way we're going to do anything against the ground. And the ground game was abundant. And that opened up a lot of things for Flacco. 16 catches for Jamar, over 20 targets. Flacco was over 200, 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. I don't know how. He had a crazy game. It was a blessing to me personally. But guys, the trajectory that win set us on, beating the divisional leader, hope is restored. We are not where we want to be necessarily, but I am just blown away by how good our guys look. The resilience of this team. That's what I have. If I have one word to describe the Cincinnati Bengals up to this point, it's resilient. Those 2 turnovers were amazing as well. Interceptions against Rodgers. The one where he stripped it away from DK Metcalf is just an incredible fight. I love to see that hunger at home. We didn't want to. They didn't just die. They fought back. That 10 down. They were down 10-0, and we fought and we clawed our way. Defense still a little shaky, but man, if our offense can stay on the gas pedal like that, I really don't believe there's anybody that can beat us, because Jamar Chase is the unquestioned, in my mind, best wide receiver in the league. If Joe Flacco can just find a way to keep feeding him, guys, the league is in trouble. The league is in trouble. So what a start to the year thus far for the Cincinnati Bengals. It has been a lot of fun to watch. The Unk Bowl last night, the icy hot bowl was a lot of fun to watch. It's just good football right there. When offenses are clicking and it's back and forth, it's good football, but it's even better football when the Cincinnati Bengals get a win.